8 wisps on wood, you know? You really need to be in there killing wisps and stopping them, generally preventing them from that free early game. You're not going to have a free early game at expanding because you have a lot of work to do to make up for the huge tech disadvantage you have. If you look, Box's tech is like mega super behind. Is it even behind that much behind it? I don't even think it is. Nope, because he went Mass Huntress. Never mind. But if you look, what you have to try and keep your tech speed going at a rate to where you could actually do some damage. And if you tech super late, you're gonna probably have to end up going tanks, which really sucks. If you look what Box is doing now, he's using the Zeppelin very well. The main thing about harassing Night Elves is you need to mess up with their lumber. Lumber is probably the most difficult things, one of the most difficult things for Night Elves to get in general. Lumber's super annoying to deal with as a Night Elf player because it's like you have like this thing going on where it's like you have 8 wisps and you tech, and every wisp you lose is like 30-40 lumber you're not getting. And it really sucks. Like, I played Night Elf for about 2 weeks, where I was just like, fuck human, I'm a Night Elf player, right? And this happened like maybe a month ago, where I just played lots and lots of Night Elf and ladder and whatnot. And I'd say 90% of the games I lost was because they killed like 4 wisps during my tech, and I was just fucked. So keep that in mind. Even force them to buy a shredder, even if it solves their lumber troubles, it's still a lot of gold and lumber that they have to spend on getting their economy stabilized, because Night Elf, in all honesty, would really prefer to not get that shredder and just use the wisps they have, but it doesn't always work out like that. Alright, so as you look now, Box is doing a tier 2 strategy. He's using it Mountain King. Mountain King is really good versus Dark Ranger. Naga, not so much, because Naga usually uses versus Demon Hunter, because if you mana burns it, you still have your mana regen and can keep a good, keep your hero doing what it's supposed to be doing. Then I have to buy too many mana potions or anything like that. So, you know, MK is really good versus Dark Ranger because he's not really going to be able to drain his mana, and also Dark Ranger dies to focus really well. Another thing about your Box's footman count, he keeps making footmen until he hits tier 2. Footmen are really important. Like, often see a human will make like 6 foots and then not. Just keep making footmen. Don't really, if you have an expansion, there's no reason you shouldn't be. Keep them on queue, constantly be producing those footmen. They always come in handy. If you look now, Armin VB is coming to Box's expansion, but Box has 2 towers set up. It's not going to do that much initially, but Armin has Lightning Shield, which really sucks ass for Box, as you can see. He's gonna lose pretty much all his peasants at his expansion, but basically what you're gonna see now is Box leaving his MK at his shop. Basically you're just gonna see how Box deals with this. So this Panda's Lightning Shield, he runs all his footmans away from it. You can't mess around with the Lightning Shield. You really just want to avoid it if at all possible. And now he's just going to start focusing the Dark Ranger to just try and, like, you can keep their micro in check. It's always good to focus on other heroes on and off. It just really keeps the game going in a good favor for you, because it's like, focus the hero, make sure they're not doing anything, make sure they're paying attention, you know. So now he remembers his MK and it's in the fight. You probably would have done a lot better if he'd remembered. But if you see what's happening, now that Box has his water elementals out, the Huntresses really can't compete with the damage, so he had more longevity in this fight. Box won't rebuild the towers as his expansion simply because he doesn't need to, now that he has an army building. Once you have your army building, you know, you're fine. You have nothing to worry about, essentially. Let's see here. So yeah, now he's just doing tier 2 caster mortar. The whole tier 2 caster mortar strat is, you know, my friend said to me, why don't you just go tier 3 and get, like, you know, a paladin and staff? Like, it just makes life so much easier. You know, why don't you do that? And I'm like, you know, that makes a lot of sense. You know, I was thinking that really does make a lot of sense. Why don't I just do that? And it really occurred to me, you know, Night Elf isn't like, you're on a timer. you know? It's not a matter of like, yeah, with Night Elf, it isn't really that matter of the games like versus Undead, where you're not really on a timer. You can expand and expand and expand and keep like playing the game at your leisure and choosing your fights. With Night Elf, you have to force a fight at some point in the game, and you have to outfood them. You made a fast expansion, you're gonna have a shitload more resources than them. As soon as you hit tier 2, you get 3 freaking production buildings, upgrades, everything, and you just go crazy. 80 food army, 2 healing scrolls, fight. That's the whole thing Box is doing right now. If you look at Box's food count and Armin VB's, huge difference. That's partially because Armin did 2 expansions, which I don't think was a wise decision. It really put him in an economy hole, and he's really never able to pay it off. He also went straight to bears. He should have got like 3 dryads or something at least. Otherwise, because these water elementals was gonna go to town on him. But now pretty much Box is at like 70 food, and you see he basically just went straight up to that food. He didn't pause at 50, and doing a huge push. The whole push thing with this strategy is quite good, because it gives you that food advantage that goes into a very long duration in the game. Like, or not a very long duration. You have a window with this food advantage. You know, if you go to their base with 80 food and they have like 60 food, and you have 2 healing scrolls, you're pretty well off in general. You know. Another thing to keep in mind when you're microing versus Night Elf, try and keep your priests spread out a little. Cause if they're not, then they're all gonna get silenced, and you can't dispel anything, and it really sucks ass. So try and keep your priests spread out, so they don't all get silenced if at all possible, and don't be afraid to hero focus, especially when you go MK. That was a pretty good example of how you do the push strategy. Usually, if that push doesn't work, you're probably gonna lose the game. That's just because they're gonna have high ass level heroes from killing your entire army, and high level heroes. Level 5 MK is good stuff, but level 6 DR and like level 6 Panda, you lose the game pretty much unconditionally. So, you know, try and keep that in mind, that you kind of have this window where you want to do the push after you do your fast expansion. Oftentimes on Terranistan, like, you know, I don't like taking risks too frequently, so there's a good portion of the time I will do like 2 arcane towers before I even start my expansion. Like, that's only if I'm like somewhat nervous, or if I saw like a hunt DR thing going on where he starts building hunts, I'll get super mega nervous and just go with that. It doesn't hurt, but it's probably not the best move. It's just sort of a dumb thing I do sometimes because I panic. Okay, so next replay will be Box versus BVG Champ. I think it's from a clan war between Headhunters and BVG, but I'm not positive. I think that's where I got this replay. Maybe. And it's a pretty good replay. It's Human Mirror on Terranistan again, Box spawning in the top left, and Champ spawning bottom right. Go ahead and get the replay pause at the 2-minute mark. Human Mirror. I had a little short story. I had a really nice audio done about 2.5 weeks ago. It was uploaded. It was gonna be like 3 audios ago before you're hearing this one. I haven't really been doing that many audios lately, not because of lack of motivation, but mostly because of real life, and I just train so much in Warcraft 3 that I really don't have I have trouble finding the time between games. Like, you know, play 2 more games or make an audio. Like, you know, it's always that toss up. So, you know, I've just been playing a lot of games. But like, I made this audio, and it was a really nice audio. It was Human Mirror. It was Cruncher versus someone else on Terranistan, some semi-pro from NGL2. It was Human Mirror, and it was a great game, like awesome game. And I'm gonna try and reiterate most of the points I did in that game, but that game was tier 2 Panda vs MK battle type thing. It was like that was what the emphasis was on. In this game, it's like tier 3 versus tier 2. I don't know. It's very interesting, and Box is more of a tier 3 human player, which is why I chose to do this, because I haven't really seen that too often, and I thought it would kind of be more interesting than Mass Breaker. But I'm at the 2-minute mark. From Box's perspective, I'm going to be unpausing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay, so Box is doing something really interesting here. He uses militia to lure out these creeps, and he's going to bring his footmen in,